Hi everybody, on for review, as you can see, is my favorite fragrance from Opus Oils, and I do own 3 fragrances so far from Opus Oils, this being my favorite one. And this is none other than, as you can see in my very long and elaborate intro, Ode de Vampyre by Opus Oils. This here is the 2-ounce Eau de Parfum. It will run you $115. There's nothing super great about the presentation. It comes in this bag here, and the bottle is just basic, but I do like the picture here, Ode de Vampyre. Now, as far as the year this is released, I couldn't tell you. I can't find that information anywhere. I don't know the perfume, I don't know any of that kind of stuff. If someone can figure that out and they find out that information, feel free to comment down below and let us all know. But I do know that base notes and Fragrantica do not have that information. So, anyways, there's various different bottle sizes. It's going to run you anywhere between $55 and $155 to pick up this fragrance. They have all sorts of different kinds of bottles. They got lotions, body scrubs, stuff like that. Body wash, I should say. You could get like a 10, I think it's a 10 ml or 15 ml roll-on bottle. I believe that's the cheaper route. And then they have, of course, the different concentrations. There's the Eau de Toilette and there's the Eau de Parfum versions. Of course, the Eau de Toilette, they cost less. The Eau de Parfums are the next most expensive, and there's the Pure Parfum, which is the most expensive. I believe the 1-ounce Pure Parfum is around $140. So I went with the Eau de Parfum version, which is this guy right here, and it is the 2-ounce, and it was $115. Let's dive into the notes for Ode de Vampyre. You're going to get ancient essences. Oh man, they kind of put on a production on their website here. They try to make it sound like it's more elaborate than it really is. They have blood cedar wood, dark rose, saffron, orris root, sandalwood, black agar, vetiver, honey, and temple incense. That is what is listed on their website. And basically what you're going to get out of this fragrance here, and remember too, actually, I do know this for a fact, the Eau de Parfum version smells different from the Pure Parfum, smells different from the Eau de Toilette. They all smell very different. I actually might enjoy the Eau de Toilette more than either of the other 2 versions, to be honest with you. Especially the Pure Parfum version, that one just gets a little too heavy. I usually like really heavy fragrances, but the floral mixed with the incense with that version is just a little too much, a little too rosy. So I'm going to spray it. I actually already have it on this hand. Spray it on this hand now. The spray works very nicely. Okay. What I get right off the bat is a combination of like oud and rose and saffron. It reminds me if you took like Jubilation 25, mixed it with M7 and mixed it with some sort of super rose-based fragrance, and it wouldn't be a Montal because it's not a medicinal rose. But the rose is very prominent in the beginning here. I don't nearly as much. I don't enjoy the beginning nearly as much as the rest of the life of the fragrance. It's actually quite medicinal, I think. The rose combination mixed with that kind of powdery oud, black agar, is what it's listed as. But it's like a powdery oud. Think M7. and just a medicinal type um, combination between the rose and the incense and the oud. But as it dries down, it very much becomes a incense and floral. The rose, it reminds me, it reminds me very much of. This is going to sound bad, but it reminds me very much of death. Okay, it reminds me of a vampire very much. It reminds me of a very gothic rose. It's a very gothic rose incense fragrance. A lot of people say that about Montal's Black Oud. Yeah, that's along the same lines as this, only I can't stand Black Oud. It has almost like this dead, damp quality to it. Like, it reminds me of a castle's basement. Okay? It reminds me of exactly the picture that I showed you in the beginning of Brad Pitt. He's got blood all over his, his face here, wearing the ruffled shirt. An aristocratic vampire who has been burning incense in his lair and has a rose oil on to seduce women. Okay, that's very much what this reminds me of. Incense mixed with rose, mixed with a little bit of like a honeyed oud. It's very addictive to me, but I'll tell you something right now. Everybody hates this stuff on me. I do believe that you have to be somewhat of a fragrance connoisseur to enjoy this whole line, to be perfectly honest with you. This is not a fragrance for somebody who's just starting out. There is a bit of an animalic quality to this fragrance that's being brought out by that rose combination. Like I say, it does remind me of somebody who might be, pale and dead wearing this fragrance. It's not like a raunchy smell. It's just that rose very much reminds me like a dreary, damp kind of lair, and they couldn't have named it better. To be honest with you, Ode de Vampyre was perfect. With even with this picture, this is exactly what I imagine it smelling like. Is the bloody rose kind of smell, and it's just an aristocratic type vampire you see with his ruffled shirt there. Now, I personally, for the rest of the line, other than Charlie Number 5, can't stand any of them. You can go check out my Opus Oils First Impressions video if you'd like. Now, most of them are a little too animalic for me to enjoy. And believe me, I like animalic fragrances. Oud 27, Kuros, love those fragrances. The other ones that are in this line, other than Charlie Number 5, are just like death in a bottle. Just, pure death in a bottle. Lady Death was just god-awful stuff. So I do feel like this fragrance is the gem out of the whole line, and it is definitely unique. Like I say, a lot of people absolutely can't stand this fragrance when I wear it, and I have worn it a decent amount of times, but it's very much a fragrance for me. I find it kind of cozy, and it like tells a story. I kind of imagine, if you guys don't know, I absolutely love writing short stories, so I kind of imagine all sorts of different vampire type stories, short stories that I think of while I wear this fragrance, and it kind of gets my wheel spinning, and I kind of write sometimes when I wear this fragrance. And it's very much kind of cozy to me because as I was growing up as a kid, I absolutely loved the horror movies that would come on during the couple weeks before Halloween and during Halloween, the old classics, Frankenstein, Dracula. And Dracula and Wolfman always were my two favorites as a kid and even now. And, when I see even Bram Stoker's Dracula by Francis Ford Coppola, and I see like the castle, in that movie, or even in the original Dracula, that castle. This fragrance reminds me of that castle more than it does the vampire, because in the castle it's damp, there's cobwebs, um, but there's these candles kind of lit around, and maybe he had been um, burning incense at some point. And down in the layer below, where they all sleep, there could be roses because, at their funeral or whatever, they kept the roses that the loved ones left behind. Vampires are very lonely creatures in most stories, so them holding on to like sentimental value to their dead flowers from their funeral doesn't seem to me like it'd be very, very far-fetched. So it kind of reminds me of that little bit of a story, the lonely vampire stuck in his castle, away from everybody, who's burning candles and incense and kind of sobbing over his own death and missing his loved ones with his bouquet of dead roses that he's holding in his arms after he's just murdered a victim and he's got blood running around his mouth. It tells a story for me. It's one of those type fragrances. Now, this is an eau de parfum. It will last you a very long time. It does become a skin scent after the first hour and a half, 2 hours, which is okay because for me, like I say, this is a fragrance for me, and I don't really plan on ever wearing it outside of the house. Not that I wouldn't or couldn't, but like I say, this is more of an intimate fragrance for me. And this will definitely last you 8+ hours. I do 3 sprays, 1 on the neck and 1 on each wrist. Usually I do 1 on my hand too because, like I say, I do like to write with this fragrance. And I'll sniff it every so often. There's a very nice honeyed incense going on this fragrance. I just kind of remembered the honey quality in it. It does pop out through different phases of the fragrance. This one's very unique because sometimes when I go to sniff it, I just get like that dead rose mixed with incense. And other times I can pick up on this really nice underlying honey note that comes out that sweetens up the incense a little bit. Guys, I very much enjoy this fragrance, and I do believe that Opus Oils is quality. I wouldn't have spent the $150 on this otherwise. Like I say, when a fragrance can kind of draw me in like that and tell a story, then you got me sold. This is very much a unique fragrance and definitely one worth looking into. I hope you all enjoyed, and definitely if you're a teenager or something, don't bother with this. This is definitely for the connoisseur in you that wants a fragrance that tells a story, and definitely probably to me unisex, and just basically has like an age limit on it. I would say 25 and up, and definitely for those who respect fragrance for what it can do for you as far as telling a story. That is my take on Ode de Vampyre by Opus Oils, and I would definitely give this a 9 out of 10 because of the story that it tells for me, for what it does for me, and the complexity within the fragrance. Very much deserves attention for me. I hope you all check out Opus Oils, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.